This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this StockBox interview.
Well, joining us today, David Lenigas, the chairman of Vinanz PLC. David, thank you for your time again. How are things?
Yeah, good morning. It's an opportune time to talk. Everything's going very well. So,
Good.
God bless America and the fact that Bitcoin's now part of its strategic financial reserve. As of Friday last week.
Well, that's important, isn't it? So that was an executive order that Trump signed to effectively to make Bitcoin strategic reserve of the United States.
Yeah, no, it was something that he sort of went on his election campaign with, and he signed the election order last week. There was a crypto sort of Bitcoin specialist conference at the White House on Friday, so it was a very active day from a political perspective. But what this does is it really moves Bitcoin further along the path of being seen as legitimate legal tender currency.
Yeah, okay.
The American government have about 200,000 Bitcoin within its treasury. They've now set up a strategic reserve. There's discussions around, if you look at the media, that America is looking at putting in place means to continue to increase that Bitcoin amount within the strategic reserve, and not sell the Bitcoin that they currently have.
Right.
The Biden
Okay.
administration, they did sell quite a lot of the Bitcoin, but America, one of the key focuses on the executive order is that the government in America now wants to make America as the leading player in the Bitcoin and crypto, proper legal legal tender currency. Start again, you can cut that out. The government wants to make America as the leader in legal currency with respect to crypto.
Okay. Oh, that's good. That's good to hear. So, I mean, how did the government get their crypto? Is it stuff that they've just accumulated over the years from various different means, and now they're going to hold it effectively rather than look to dispose of it?
A lot of governments up until now have been getting their crypto, well, particularly Bitcoin, which is the most valuable, by means of forfeiture for things like fraud, theft, and crime. And America has amassed about 200,000 Bitcoin as part of that process.
Okay.
So the government's now said that they've got that. They will hold it. They will hold it forever.
Okay.
Part of their strategic reserve.
Yeah. And then does this have to go through the sort of the legislative process, or is it is this going
an executive order? It's live.
Okay. All right. Good.
And other government officials are being tasked to build up the strategic reserve on Bitcoin. So it's quite exciting. So I think we'll see ultimately a really good effect on the Bitcoin price, especially when governments start buying. And there's about 30 US states all looking at putting strategic Bitcoin reserves in as well. I think Texas is going to be the first. And if you look at Texas, that's quite important to be the first front runner out of the gate. Texas as an economy is the 8th largest economy in the world, just as a state. So there's a lot of very exciting developments happening on the Bitcoin front.
And I mean, what do you think it means for Bitcoin then? I mean, I would sort of suggest that it probably means that the volatility will start to get a bit less and it becomes a bit more a little bit more stable, I suppose, finds a floor.
Well, we think it's going to get it less, but at the moment there's a lot of volatility in the Bitcoin price. I mean, Bitcoin price is sort of corrected by $15,000 over the weekend, but it seems to be a constant trend. The weekend trading when the big hedge funds and the big pension funds in America are shut, Asia seems to sell it down and America seems to buy it back up again.
Okay.
And if you look at the Bitcoin graph, if you're a chartist, you'd go, all it's doing is filling in the gaps. So a pullback into the 80,000s is probably a very healthy thing before you see the Bitcoin price starting to rise again. But from our perspective as Vinanz, a lower Bitcoin price gives us even more opportunities in what we're trying to do, because we can buy our Bitcoin miners cheaper and deploy new contracts into America in a better form than if got the Bitcoin price was thumping through $120,000 or $150,000. It's good for us in either way, whether the Bitcoin we hold in our wallet or expanding our Bitcoin mining fleet. Either way, where it sits right now, we're in a very good position.
Indeed. And just quickly on the crypto event that was held at the White House, then, what was that all about?
Well, it's been something that's been muted for a while, and they had 30 odd of the world's biggest participants in all the major forms of crypto, with the senior forms of government in the United States, including the president. So I think it was to demonstrate to the world that the White House is backing, the strategic reserve.
Okay. Right. Okay. And this ties in, does it, to your announcement then that came out about you sort of starting that journey, getting the ball rolling really with looking for a NASDAQ listing? Yeah,
it's not linked, but it's certainly positive, with respect to the way the Americans see the Bitcoin market. We've been working on this sort of scenario for a while, but now that we've got the full London Stock Exchange mainboard listing, which is our principal listing and exchange, we'd like to look at the opportunities of dual listing Vinanz onto the NASDAQ. It's a process, and the way it works in America is you first of all appoint your senior legal counsel that sort of leads you through that process with the banks. They generally get sort of half a dozen banks for you to choose from. You then choose which bank you want to move towards, an underwriting agreement to effectively put a prospectus together for NASDAQ and move it down the process that way. So we needed to announce today that we've engaged legal counsel, because from an insider trading perspective, there's a lot of bankers and lawyers that we'll be talking to in the coming weeks and months that will be aware of what our intentions are if we can achieve that. And therefore, everything a company like us does need to be in the public marketplace.
Cool.
So we had to announce the fact that we've employed legal counsel. We're in deep discussions with a number of banks they've introduced us to already. The banks that we're talking to are very excited about the opportunity of BTC.LN, being the London version of Vinanz, seeking a dual listing on NASDAQ. Very excited.
Good. Okay, so that process we'll go through, and alongside everything that's going on with Vinanz, so just remind us of Vinanz, what you're doing and what's going on right now.
Okay, so at the moment we've got miners operating in Nebraska, Indiana, Iowa, Texas, and in Canada. We're just going through a fleet review at the moment on what type of equipment we want to see the company buying and deploying at our data centers, the ones we already have, and potentially new data centers within the US. And we've just added another 150,000 miners to the fleet in the last 6 weeks. So we're looking at increasing that to well beyond 1,000, which is our key milestone. Tick the box. Vinanz has its first 1,000 miners. I remember the days when we started and we listed with 20. But what we've proven since we've been operating in America is that our model works. Our break-even price is below Bitcoin price. We've got flexibility in the model, and we're just continuing to build out through third-party data centers.
Good. Well, thank you very much, David, for the little bit today, and I'm sure we'll be speaking again fairly soon. But for now, Executive Chairman of Vinanz, thank you very much.
Thanks.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.